Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 75. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
Very special treat for you tonight.
Yes.
I've actually gotten Jay to sit down and watch the Star Wars Holiday Special, and we are going to get his reactions to the Holiday Special in our last segment tonight, which I'm so excited to hear. I just earlier today, I was trying to think of something to do Star Wars, and Jay absolutely sucks with Star Wars. He doesn't know any of the characters' names outside of Han, Luke, and Leia, and maybe the walking carpet guy. I can't do any ships with him because I don't know the names of any of the ships. No. He would just be describing, that one that goes pew pew pew.
Exactly.
That one. And then I couldn't do like top moments or anything like that because he doesn't know any of the characters. He's seen like maybe every Star Wars once, maybe twice. So
true.
He couldn't really. So I was finding hard time coming up with like a top 5 list to do for Star Wars.
No, more than anything, you just wanted payback for homework.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But maybe true. But so I was thinking about kicking you off the show this week and bringing another pod fixer on, like maybe Wes from Via VHS. He's a little under the weather, so he's not able to do it. So I was like, you know what? I always love taking the opportunity to punish you in new and just beautiful ways. And
I didn't think it could ever go as far as this.
Making you watch 90 minutes of the Star Wars Holiday Special, all 90 minutes in one sitting, is just the absolute best thing I could ever do to you. So fuck you for Diving Bell and Butterfly. Now you've seen the Holiday Special and you'll never get that out of your fucking retinas.
Fuck you for this, because this is probably one of the worst movies ever created.
It's not a movie. It was a TV
variety show, whatever the fuck it is.
So that's going to be coming later on at the end of the episode. We also got trailer parks for the brand new Ready Player One trailer, which just dropped today.
Yes.
And then also the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom full trailer this time. I know we talked a little bit about the sneak peek they gave last week, but the full trailer has dropped. There's some cool Easter eggs in there, a few things I wanted to talk about with it. So we're going to give our thoughts on those. But since we're here, Jay, what the fuck were you up to this weekend, man? I did not hang out with you at all. I didn't even talk to you this weekend.
No, I wasn't really feeling that well. I was off, though, but I was under the weather, and I was trying to just, gain on my energy for this wine party that my cousin threw at his house on Saturday night, and we got like a few inches of snow, and it was kind of pretty, but
it's true. It did snow this week.
Yeah, the first snow.
I went out to get my Christmas tree this weekend. We went up to Brian's Tree Farm, which is like in Richboro and stuff like that. Yep. We pick out our tree, and then it's a great tree. It gets cut down like right there in the field, and then you take it home and stuff like that. So it's not like a Boy Scout bought tree or anything like that.
Right.
You go tree hunting,
and with the saw.
But it was nice because I think one of the first times I ever got to go Christmas tree hunting for a Christmas tree with snow like all on the ground, and we took Luca with us and.
That's great.
Yeah, he was as annoying as ever.
Of course, naturally. I mean, it was definitely. I saw the photos; it looked really cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely did not do too much this past week, and I'm becoming such an old man. I got a few things that are going to be fun this week, though. I got my employee holiday party.
The older you get, the less you get laid, Jay.
From work.
Just want to remind you of that. I don't know if you've broken your dry spell of not getting laid, but
no, I'm not. I'm just getting drier and drier. Yeah,
that's why, man.
It's bad.
You just got to get out there to the club so you can whipster.
Yeah, stay tuned for that later on in the show. I feel like once I cracked the ice a little bit, might be smooth sailing after that. I don't know. Who knows? Whatever. We'll see.
All we know is Jay has some fucking 10-pound towels hiding underneath of his fucking bed that he's been wiping off his jism up with.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I got actually into this little show on Showtime called Smilf.
Schmilf. Okay.
Single mom, I like to fuck.
Okay.
It's actually really, really good, and I think you and Lauren would probably really like it. It's definitely
Also interesting that since you're feeling better, these are the type of women you're going to be going for now.
yeah, she's not really quite my type, but like it's really ballsy, and it's definitely showing.
Jay,
like,
you haven't been laid in months. They're all your type.
I know.
Any
That's
port
a
in a
good point.
storm, my friend.
And she probably would hit it.
So full,
No,
of,
it's kind
so
of
full of yourself.
no. But she's having sex with some random people, and there is some funny circumstances that come in play with when it comes to the sexual things.
You're best hitting on women in loud clubs where they can't hear you talk. No, don't have. Long,
I have a lot of success with that.
Yeah, don't have long conversations.
But I was a lot younger then, and I was going to clubs back then, and this was like 10 years ago. But
now women look at you and they go, "Are those crow's feet?
it's like, wait,
How gray is he going?"
I know. What? How old are you? You're only 33 and you're that gray?
He's too tall, so I can't see if he has a bald spot or not. I'll make him go down on me later so I can check.
And of course, it never gets to that point. Yeah, never gets that far.
Because Jay's just a taker. He does not reciprocate. You piece of shit.
Whipstar.
Which is exactly how Jay goes down on women. Just
with the tongue, like it's Lickstar. It's like Lickstar. Figure eight and up and down. All right.
Which this is only funny if anyone's ever seen the Star Wars holiday special.
I know. They don't know what the hell we're talking about right now. But unfortunately, we watched it today. So, other than that, not too much, Dave.
I mean, other than going and getting the tree, I mean, I went to Broken Goblet for maybe an hour on Friday night, but that was just so me and Lauren can grab some dinner and hang out with our friends, Tara and Dugan, for a little bit. And I mean, I was hungover as shit on Sunday because I started drinking on Saturday night. We went to Broken Goblet, then we came back here, and then I started playing video games for a little bit because I was going on So I Married a Movie Geek with Justin and Chrissy because they were talking the Star Wars prequels. They watched all the prequels, and they just wanted to have someone on who wasn't them talking about Star Wars. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with them on there. That episode is available right now over at So I Married a Movie Geek. So that's another Podfix show.
Yep.
Make sure you go over there and check that out because I had a lot of fun recording with them. And then after that, I stayed up online playing Star Wars Battlefront 2 because I've been all Star Wars this weekend. I played Star Wars Battlefront 2 most of the night Saturday night until 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and I drank I think I did the count that was out here on our podcast table. I had 11 beers in like a 5-hour period, which isn't, it's not like terrible, but
That's a lot for you, though.
it's a lot for me.
Yeah.
I usually
Wow.
just drink, slowly, but I mean I was pounding.
And that was
them.
while gaming?
Yeah, it was while gaming. Yeah, I mean, it actually improves gaming. It's crazy. You get better. I don't know how, but I also play online with Duty from Shaken Not Nerd, who's also part of our Podfix family. So I went up and met him in New York and stuff like that. We've been talking
definitely.
a lot since then. So we play online. We also started the Podfix gaming channel where you can go on to, it's the Podfix Game Club on Xbox One. So go on Xbox One and under groups search Podfix Game Club, and you can join me and Duty in some online gaming. It's a lot of fun. We don't talk about the game at all. We just bullshit the whole time. So if you're looking for people that are hardcore gamers, that's not us. We're just there to have fun and shoot some shit and drink some beers and have a conversation. So that was my Saturday night. So Sunday I spent most of it lying down until Lauren made me get up and hang Christmas lights. And let me tell you, that is the most infuriating thing anyone can do. I fucking hate hanging Christmas lights. So I get the whole I made the absolute worst mistake you can make when hanging Christmas lights, Jay. What's the first thing you should do when hanging Christmas lights?
Untangle and start from the top down.
See, you would make the same mistake.
Really?
Plug them all in and make sure they all work. Because I hung all 4 strings across the front of our house, the icicle lights. Because we don't go crazy because my neighbor is fucking.
Oh,
Clark Griswold over there is fucking like ridiculous.
No, literally, guys, literally.
Yeah,
Clark.
his house can be seen from the fucking sun.
It's insane.
Like you're out in space, you look down, you see his fucking house. It's ridiculous. So we don't try to even keep up. We just do a little string of icicle lights. We do a string of icicle lights across our front porch and along just the front of the house, and then we have a blow up Olaf and a little tinsel fox that sits out there. That's it. We're very simple. We're very plain people.
Olaf has like cursed me. I mean, like I just can't watch him anymore.
now he haunts you.
It
every
haunts
Monday.
me now.
Every Monday you come here.
A torture short film before Coco just killed me.
So I plugged them all in, and they don't like two of the rows light up, and I was able to switch some bulbs out and get another one of them working. So we had this whole string that wasn't working. So Lauren's like, fuck it, just take it all down. I'm like, fuck you. Like, first off, it snowed this weekend. So I was standing up on our roof, hanging this stuff, and you can't wear gloves while doing it because you actually need your fingers for dexterity and performing, complex little tasks like hanging the lights and stuff like that and tying things off with it was just ridiculous.
Your hands must have been frozen. Yeah.
They were frozen. So I was like, no. I was like, just go out and buy another fucking string of lights. So she goes out and buys another string of lights. She brings them home today and she goes, here you go. You can hang them. And you would think that they would be the same length as the ones we got rid of. Nope. They were twice the length of those other ones. So I had to get up there and I had to take down a whole nother string of lights and then tie those ones into the middle. I basically had to take it all down and redo it right after I got home from work. I fucking hate hanging Christmas lights. It's the worst thing. Like, decorating for Christmas is the worst thing because you put all this shit up. It stays up for 3 or 4 weeks and then you wind up taking it all the fuck down. I can't stand it.
It's terrible. I know. No, I'm not. Big fan.
Decorating for Halloween and Thanksgiving is easy. You go, you buy pumpkins, and you put them outside. Then,
no, I'm a big believer. I feel like everybody should just decorate for the fall, and the fall decorations kind of lead into
what me and Lauren
the holidays, Christmas time, winter time.
Me and Lauren don't really decorate for Halloween. We decorate for fall.
Yeah,
we will do like 1 or 2
it's
jack-o'-lanterns.
Gorgeous. I love the fall colors. Everybody does. Come on.
And then we throw away the 2 jack-o'-lanterns after Halloween, but then we still have pumpkins, like real pumpkins and stuff set up around, stuff like that. Like, we decorate for the fall. We don't really decorate for Halloween. And that all stays up until after Friendsgiving, and then the Christmas stuff comes out, which is only up for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we got to take it all down.
And then there's nothing.
So as for what I watched this week, I finished up The Crown on Netflix, first season. So I could be ready for second season, which came out on Friday, but I just haven't dived into the second season yet. So I wanted to wrap up the first season. I started watching, it's one of those shows that like I started watching the first like 5 episodes last year, and then I never like really caught back up. So what I did was I actually just sort of watched it all. It's just so I can catch up. And now
so obviously you like it.
I do. I really enjoy The Crown. It's a true history drama, and
that's true.
There's a lot of interesting things in there. Like if you're a history buff, it's great. If you like Downton Abbey or Game of Thrones or stuff with like a little bit with a lot of character and a little bit of political intrigue and stuff like that, it's up your alley. If you like The West Wing, it's up your alley. It's that type of thing.
Okay,
I like all those things, so it's up my alley. And it's real and historical, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And I love the acting in it. I mean, the acting is superb. John Lithgow as Winston Churchill is just fucking phenomenal.
Is it Claire Foy? Is the
Yep, Claire Foy. As she is Elizabeth, and she's adorable. Like in real life, just as she's an adorable person. So
yeah, fun fact: she's going to be Ryan Gosling's wife in First Man.
I know
Damien Chazelle's movie next year.
She announced that on Jimmy Fallon. They said you're in First Man. Who are you playing? And she said that she's playing. She didn't say Neil Armstrong's wife. She said she's playing Ryan Gosling's wife, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah. Which is exactly how Jay would put it if he was in a movie with Gosling. If Gosling was in like a real life story, Jay wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm playing the best friend to this real life person that Ryan Gosling's playing." He'd be like, "Oh, I'm Ryan Gosling's best friend."
Well, yeah, we're best friends. Yeah.
I'm Ryan Gosling's gay lover. So, other than that, when I was hungover on Sunday, since the Eagles didn't play till 4, that meant that I
Chinese.
No, I didn't do Chinese.
Oh.
I wasn't that bad. I watched all the Star Wars, man.
Wow, all of them.
I watched all. So throughout the weekend,
What, 4, 5, 6?
I peppered in the prequels, just to
I was gonna say
just to get ready for So I Married a Movie Geek. That was on Saturday. I watched the prequels, and then on Sunday I watched 4, 5, and 6. And I managed to throw in Rogue One late Sunday after The Walking Dead was done. So me and Lauren did The Walking Dead show. That should be out by now. If you want to check us out on TV Ate My Brain, we talked in the mid-season finale of The Walking Dead this week. Maybe we liked it, but probably we didn't. But I managed to fit in.
Nobody's really liking this season at all.
I haven't liked a lot in a long time. But I managed to fit in Rogue One. So I made myself a nice Star Wars weekend, man. I did a lot. I did a lot. As far as my watching goes.
It's perfect timing because, I mean, we're going Thursday night to see it. So I'm excited. And
it's Star Wars week. It's Star Wars week in podcast world. It's Star Wars week as far as all pop culture goes this week. I mean, the new Star December is Christmas for geeks, in the third week of December because the Star Wars films, a new Star Wars film comes out every year.
Every year now forever.
I didn't mention it, but I also fit in a Korean film called The Host, which it came out in, I believe, like 2006. But it's I like it. I like it a lot. It's not as good as Train to Busan, so I wouldn't recommend it for you, Jay. It's also very. When I say heavy, I don't mean heavy in subject matter. What I mean is it kind of drags towards the middle and then even into the end a little bit. But I really enjoy it. It's a creature feature. It's a monster flick. It's very much Godzilla, but like on a smaller scale. But because it's on a smaller scale, you kind of get to see the fear of humans a little bit more. You know what I mean? Because like you can shoot it at eye level. Like when you shoot Godzilla from the sky down.
Right.
You know, like you don't see the carnage and destruction up close. But with this, you do. And the CGI, while not fantastic for its time and being done in Korea, it was pretty good. So if you haven't seen The Host, it's streaming on Netflix. It's kind of worth your watch. Give it a try.
Cool.
So that's gonna do it for our intro here. Apparently, I actually did a little bit more than you this week.
You
man.
did a lot more.
I mean, meanwhile, you just jerked off into the towel under your fucking under your fucking bed because you just can't get laid no more. And then you capped your weekend off by watching Star Wars Holiday Special. That just
has been the worst week of my life.
Sounds like the fucking worst week ever. So Jay is going to pour himself a bourbon neat.
A big one.
Curl his mustache just right. Wear his suspenders, not ironically anymore, because he actually owns them and wears them pretty frequently.
3 pairs.
And he is going to take us over to his little indie corner, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Jay's Indie Corner.
Welcome.
Jay's got a little indie ditty he wants to talk to you about. He's going to bring it to you right here.
Yes, I have this year's 2017's The Hero.
The Hero. See, the throws my entire fake synopsis off because you've been telling me it's hero. That's all you've been saying. It's hero. You haven't added the.
I think I did.
No, you have not added the into it until this very moment right now. So my entire fake synopsis is based off of hero, not the hero. So you're a son of a bitch, number one. Anyway, I'm going to go with my fake synopsis because it took me a little bit to come up with it based off just this name alone. So hero is not hero Hero, it's hero Hiro, and he's a Japanese businessman. He's lonely, and he's not exactly the upper echelon of businessmen. He has a low remedial job, works in a cubicle, and ultimately hates his life. He goes back to his apartment every day, and did I mention it takes place in the future?
No. You didn't.
Okay. Well, it takes place in the future, and in his loneliness, he strikes out with real women all the time, and he has a sex robot, and he also
Sounds like Blade Runner 2049.
Stop. It wasn't a sex robot. That was that was a holographic AI. It was a holographic AI. All right. I would have a joy if me and Lauren could. We would share a joy.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. You got joy tonight, hon? All right. Well, I'll go watch. I'll go watch Netflix. You enjoy. You enjoy joy. Can I watch? No. Ah, shit. But anyway, so he spends most of his free time looking for love, and he doesn't quite find it, but what he settles for are seedy back alley sexual transactions, and he goes into strange sex clubs and stuff like that. He's one of those Japanese businessmen that likes to pay money to have like a hot wax poured on him and stuff like that. Like, and I mean, if you've ever been in Japan, there are like these lounges that exist.
I feel like his character would want to be more dominant. Because he lives such a mundane life.
Some people just love being subjugated, man.
Yeah.
There is this thing. There's like cafes that exist in Japan where like things are happening to Japanese men, and not overtly sexual things. Like I'm not talking about like no one's nude or anything like that. But it is people. It is like dominatrix dens, but it's all happening out in the open in like this cafe bar type of format and stuff like that. Those things actually exist. So he likes to go to those to kind of like fulfill this sexual need he has in himself. But then, when he goes home, he has a sex robot, and that's where the future part comes in. The sex robot, obeys his commands and stuff like that, and it's only after he gives it a command that it's not programmed to do, and it does it, that he realizes that he has a superpower. He can control electronical equipment. So what he does is once his villain is established, the way he fights his villain is by getting armies of sex bots together to fight his villain. Right?
Here we go.
So just picture like this bad guy, and let's say this bad guy can control tectonic plates, or he can control like the earth and stuff like that. So as he's fighting this guy, he's just throwing waves and waves of sex bots with tits flopping, and they're doing like this. They're nude.
How do you come up with these synopses?
They're nude, but they're doing these amazing like fucking high wire flying moves and stuff like that.
Man.
Like they're moving like you would think like Street Fighter would. Like it's Crouching Tiger, nude dragon, like all over the fucking place.
No, I'm envisioning it. Believe me.
Yeah. It would just be so good. And that's how he learns to go from hero, Hiro, to the hero.
Oh, great tie-in. All right.
It took us 4 minutes to get there.
That was deep. That was deep.
So glad you could all take that journey with me.
That was good. That's Dave's fantasy right there. So, the hero.
Did I mention that some of them look like Scarlett Johansson?
Oh,
what?
All right, sign me up.
Bringing her back. Anyway, go ahead, Jay.
This film was written and directed by Brett Halley. This stars the great Sam Elliott, a.k.a. the Marlboro Man.
From
yes.
one of my favorite indie films, Thank You for Smoking.
Yes.
One of the best acting roles Aaron Eckhart has ever done.
This is true.
I would dare say he's probably never repeated that performance. Never done anything close to as good as that. His Harvey Dent was good, but not as good as...
That's as close as it's got.
Yeah, not as good as Thank You for Smoking. And
Pretty
he was
much.
A promising actor. He was someone I wanted to see do a lot of good shit.
He had a chance. They gave him a chance.
And then I, Frankenstein, came and knocked.
And then I, Frankenstein, just...
But before that, Battle Los Angeles came knocking, and he did that too. He did a lot of bad. He
took the paychecks.
He did.
His agent.
But
I would blame his agent.
He didn't take the right paychecks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like sometimes you can take a film for a paycheck that does mediocrely well, and you're not lampooned for it. But then you take the paycheck film.
I guess because he doesn't have the body. He doesn't have the action star body. But he has like the great face, he's got the look, he's got the hair, he's got the dimple in the chin, right? He's got the stereotypical like.
Here's what I want you to
leading man look.
I want you to make the perfect leading man soldier. I want you to take Aaron Eckhart's head, put it on John Cena's body, and then remake Commando.
I mean, John Cena has those features, but without the hair.
He has those features, but like, yeah, with like this like roided head. Like he has like this roid head. That's what I call it. Like this.
It's like large and squared off, and it's just. Oh my god!
I'm not saying John Cena does roids. John Cena probably does roids, but yeah, he does have like that roid skull. Like,
yeah. Well. Oh my god! I mean, you've seen him naked, right? I mean, you saw that fucking movie, right? The Amy Schumer movie.
John Cena?
Yeah, he's having sex with Amy Schumer.
I have seen that, but I didn't see him naked.
You see his whole ass, like the whole back of him, like he's all like torso and shit, practically naked. Yeah, you see everything but his junk.
I mean, it's probably not really him. It's probably butt double.
I don't know. It's probably him.
Might be him.
He was big. But anyway, getting off subject.
Way off subject. Sam Elliott does not look like that naked.
No, he's the opposite.
Do we see Sam
very
Elliott?
Skinny, very wiry.
Do we see Sam Elliott naked in this?
No, not too much. No.
I'm surprised because like the
he has sex.
Is this a Netflix film? Is this made by Netflix?
No, this I found on Amazon.
I was only wondering because he's been doing Netflix stuff. He's in The Ranch. He was just recently guest starred in 2 or 3 episodes of Frank and Gracie. He's been doing a few things with Netflix lately. So I was just wondering whether this was
I'm sorry. I saw this on iTunes. This was one of their feature films on iTunes. It was like a deal, 99 cents or something like that, like an indie thing. And it is definitely a movie that was right up my alley when I saw the trailer. It's a really just a kind of version. He plays a version of himself almost. He's an aging movie star who hasn't had any kind of real work in a really long time. His one great role was 40 years ago, and it kept him relevant enough. And now he's doing like random voiceover, like barbecue sauce commercial ads and like things like that. Because he has this golden voice and he has that look, and
Sam Elliott does have a golden voice.
Yes, he does. And he's just trying to get through and pay the bills, do small gigs. Smoke weed with his one-time co-star played by Nick Offerman, and just kind of hang out, just get through the day. The story is relatively predictable. I mean, it's kind of cliched and everything but like that. He finds out that he's got cancer, and he kind of just has a lot of reflecting upon that, his life, and what he wants to do with the remaining portion of his time because he has an advanced stage of cancer. And, he really tries to deal with this news and tie up all those loose ends with his estranged wife and child. It's a pretty quiet film, though, but it's really beautifully shot. And it showcases Elliot. His acting chops was pretty on point for me, at least in this movie. Despite being kind of underwritten, especially for all the side characters and the supporting cast, I mean, it just wasn't quite fully done. Like this movie is a very good movie, I think, but it's not a great movie because it just wasn't quite written well enough, or at least written enough. So, despite these minor flaws, I really appreciated the film and the emotions that it took me with Sam Elliott, because I loved seeing him in this role, and he had some really cool scenes and moments. And the emotion just really, it really just got to me. I really just kind of felt for this guy. I really thought, I felt like I was really watching like a biography of Sam Elliott.
I think you were. I mean, so if you had to pick your favorite Sam Elliott role ever, just think of something he was in. What's your favorite Sam Elliott role?
Oh boy, see, this is one of those guys that's been in like so many random pop-in.
It's crazy because
supporting roles.
Right, he's been around since 1967, but he really wasn't in anything of note until he did The Mask with Cher and Eric Stoltz. But then right after that, he was also in Roadhouse, where he played Wade Garrett, obviously the guy who, he's kind of like the old guy in that film and stuff like that. He's never really been much of a leading man, right?
No, not at all. But everybody knows who he is, though. That's the thing.
Right. In his smaller roles, he's been a leading
Big
man.
Lebowski, like he's been in like a bunch of stuff, Up in the Air. he's just, gosh, he everybody knows who he is. And Thank You for Smoking is definitely one of the more latest big ones, I think, that he just nails. And obviously, right now, he's all over Netflix because of The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher.
I already said that.
And Danny
Now you're
Masterson.
repeating
So, like, this is, like, by far his current most well-known part.
I think Gettysburg is the film that he did that, like,
We Were Soldiers.
I really liked him. He was Brigadier General John Buford, and he wasn't in much of that film, but what he was in that film, like it just worked so well. And I love that film Gettysburg. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I remember really enjoying it. It's one of those films that you're forced to watch in school, and then you got some cool like blood and guts battle moments, and you're like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, I'll take it. But Sam Elliott, he's one of those guys. Yeah, you know his name, but and
you know his look. You just know. Right. You feel like you know this guy inside and out, and you just kind of weather the storm. And this film just showcases that
on IMDb.
So
I just found out that Sam Elliott has an upper lip, and it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. Small, but it's there.
It's actually quite big, like his upper lip. Like it's.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, why do you think he has such a big mustache, man?
That's true.
I was just looking. I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, motherfucker does have an upper lip. That's like finding out Chuck Norris has a chin under his beard. Like, you know, you just assume that like underneath the facial hair that they're so known for,
I know, just
exists like the nexus of the universe. And if you cross it, you will go into the next dimension that is right next to ours. It's that's actually why the facial hair exists, to stop people from getting sucked into the black hole that exists underneath of it. So coming up next, me and Jay got some beers that we're going to review for you, and we got this week's drunk scene, which is Christmas themed. So stay tuned. So welcome back to the beer segment. So Jay has gone out and he has got us 2 winter ales to review. But before we get into that, we got to get into this week's drunk scene. So this week's drunk scene, I feel like there has to be a little bit of context for it.
Yes.
It has Seth Rogen, and Seth Rogen plays a Jewish guy who goes to church with his wife's family on Christmas, and he is wearing his Star of David Christmas sweater. And while in there, he is absolutely ripped on multiple drugs because for Christmas, his wife got him a whole bunch of different drugs to do. So he winds up doing a lot of them before he goes to church with her. When he gets to church with her, he starts having some bad combination and hallucinations, and it has hilarious results.
This is so cool. Are we supposed to participate?
No.
Hallelujah!
No, not that kind of church.
No.
You're my rock, right? Can you be my rock? 'Cause you're acting like a weird pebble.
Okay, I'm good.
Be a rock. Fuck.
What's this fucking kid over here? What's this kid doing? Look over there. Look away, dude. Look away.
Stop. Please don't hiss at a kid.
He's fucking with me.
I don't think he's talking to you at all.
Where's that guy?
What guy?
The guy in the garage.
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
Stop it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey.
Is that what they think we did to him?
Yeah.
Can you tell him Jewish?
Yes.
How?
Your fucking sweater.
I'm sorry.
Isaac, stop talking. Isaac. Isaac, what are you doing? Don't throw up. You dare throw up in here. Swallow it like a girl would. Swallow it. Do you do it? Let me see your mouth. Don't throw up.
Morphac! Where's the Morphac?
No Morphac. There's no stop. He just threw up. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, fuck me.
Is it still happening? It's still happening a little, yeah. Just.
We did not kill Jesus! We did not do that!
So obviously, Seth Rogen is extremely fucked up.
Oh my God, this makes me roll in laughter so hard. Like in verge of tears. It's so spot on perfect to me. Except like the very last line. I think he could have like
What?
Did it a little bit better.
We did not do that to him.
We did not kill Jesus. But everything else was so perfect. Oh my God, it was hysterical.
This is one of those Christmas movies that doesn't get a whole lot of love. And I remember when it came out, like it didn't do well. And it's really hard to sell an R-rated Christmas movie. I mean, the same way like Office Christmas Party came and went last year. This was the one. That
but you know what?
Before that,
I think it would have done better now. If it came out now,
maybe it's got a great cast though. All right, Seth Rogen. I mean, you might get saturated on him, but also Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Those two back together, after 50-50, and then Anthony Mackie.
But this was before the Falcon.
No, I think he was already the Falcon at this point.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, Winter Soldier would have been.
I thought
out.
this was like right before, or maybe it was right after. I'm not sure.
But so the whole premise of the film is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his parents died when he was young. So ever since then, he has, instead of having Christmas like a normal person, him and his friends go around town and get absolutely fucked up.
I love
a bunch of different parties. And now he's having a crisis where his friends are growing up, having families, or having lives of their own, and the tradition's kind of going by the wayside. So this is the last night that they are ever going to do this. And there's also a great scene where they go to FAO Schwartz and they play the piano, like in Big, but that's not the song they play.
No. I'm not a big Kanye West fan, but this song fits perfect. It's so great.
But yeah, so in the church scene, a baby starts talking to him. It says, "Fuck you."
And then he spots Jesus on the cross, and he's like, "Oh my God, who's that guy?"
His hand motions,
his hand motions like wing out, like, "Oh my God,
what guy? Who are you talking about? This guy doing this." Yeah, if you haven't seen The Night Before,
where's the barf bags?
If you haven't seen The Night Before, definitely check it out. It might not be the best thing you've ever seen, but it'll certainly.
I think it's a worthy watch for a holiday comedy, an R-rated holiday comedy, buddy comedy.
It's worth it.
It's worth watching.
It's a lot of fun. So Jay, you got us 2 beers here. What are you drinking, man?
Well, mine is the Star Hill Brewery Snowblind Doppelbock. Is 7.7 alcohol by volume. This is a pretty full-bodied, it's like a German-style lager, and it's on a smooth side, but it's a little heavy with the caramel malt flavor for me, and obviously, there's winter notes. But it's a drinkable beer. I don't love it, but it is not too bad. It's pretty dark in color. I'm going to give this one a 2.75 out of 5.
Wow, man.
Yeah. I didn't want to go.
You're so vexed on it that you have to add a 0.25 to a score to just to come across. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried yours. I like yours a little bit better. I think yours is a little bit more balanced. It lacks a little bit of boldness, but the one I'm drinking, bold is, I guess, a loose term that we could use. It is in your face. I am drinking the Lancaster Brewing Company Winter Warmer Ale. Now, one of the things that I actually like about this beer is, just like when I drink the Weyerbacher Last Chance IPA, which proceeds of that go to dog shelters in our area for helping dogs. This is all the proceeds from this beer, the Lancaster Winter Warmer Ale, go towards benefiting the Lidditz Wolf Sanctuary in PA, which is actually a place that you can go and visit. What it is much like when I took that trip to Howling Woods Farm last year, which I talked about in the show. It's a place where you can go see live wolves, no fences, no anything. The wolves can come up to you, and you're not supposed to touch them, but if the wolf wants to touch you, it can. But it's a lot of them are hybrids and stuff like that. But what that place exists for is it exists so that it's conservation. It puts people up front and close with an endangered or at-risk species, and allows you to see them for what they really are. And I absolutely love that. I've been there myself. One of the cool things you can do is on nights of full moons, you can actually camp inside the Sanctuary all night. So if you're in the Pennsylvania area, in the Lancaster area, you want to support a great cause, but also have a day out, look up the Lidditz Wolf Sanctuary. So because this beer kind of goes towards that. Now let's talk about the beer instead of the beer's benefactors. But this is I want to like it so much because of of what it does. But honestly, it's too bold. It has a complex blending of hops. You got some caramel hops. You got some chocolate. Yeah, I'm sorry. Has a complex set of malt flavors. Like there's definitely some caramel malt. There's definitely some dark chocolate malt flavoring, and that is extremely heavy. Like that dark chocolate flavor that's left is so bitter at the end, and it's got such the
finish is rough.
A hard bite, right? Like it has a great smell. Like this thing smells amazing, but the way it goes down, not so much. It's just that harsh aftertaste that really keeps it off the charts. But I'm gonna give it a 3. If you like full-bodied dark beers, this is definitely a beer that you're gonna enjoy. So I'm gonna be giving it a 3. I rather enjoy it. It is 8.9% alcohol per volume, so drink responsibly.
Yes, it's up there.
But it's pretty good. It's just it's not for me. But I'm trying to review it as if this was the type of beer that I did like.
No, I understand that, and it's a little too strong for me as well, and I don't know who would appreciate this kind of beer, but I'm sure the winter beer, Christmas beer fans out there would probably enjoy something like that. And also mine a little bit more on the mild side is mine, a little bit more smooth overall.
Yep. So coming up next, me and Jay are going to get into a brief trailer park. I know we talked about Jurassic World, The Fallen Kingdom a little bit last week. Well, we got the full trailer this week to discuss. And then they also got a brand new Ready Player One trailer. So stay tuned for Trailer Park. Welcome back to Trailer Park. I'm Trailer Parking extra fucking hard. I'm trailer parking extra fucking hard. Not for Jurassic World: The Lost Kingdom, though. Yeah, that's a thing, and I'll see it, and I'm mildly excited.
I'm
for
just
it.
confused.
What I'm really
more than anything by the marketing.
What I'm really fucking stoked for, Jay, is Ready Player One.
Of course you are.
This
is like your movie. This is like right up your wheelhouse. Not mine, but yours.
Shove that finger right up its ass. It's like it's really it's something that's made for people that are like me, and probably a lot of people that listen to us and listen to podcasts and stuff like that. It's made for geek culture, and it's made by he's not king of the geeks, but he's made so many films that are so important to geek culture, Steven Spielberg. So it's just like it's
there's no perfect person to.
And you even told me that Steven Spielberg was actually asking Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One, to write a sequel because Steven Spielberg wants to live in this world. He wants to make more movies in this world, which is extremely exciting. It also shows promise for this film, a lot of promise. If Steven Spielberg so far is believing in it that much. Now,
absolutely. And the VR world.
To be fair, I mean, he probably once believed in the Crystal Skull too, and then that happened. So
gosh, I know.
Right.
Oh,
so grain of salts all around. But Jay, let's get into the first film. We talked a little bit about the teaser footage that we got for Jurassic World last week, but let's talk about the full trailer.
So, what are you dating, like an accountant now, or
Owen,
ventriloquist?
stop it.
You love a dummy.
This is not why we're here.
You can blame me, try to shame me.
I know why we're here.
I'll care.
A rescue op. Save the dinosaurs from the island that's about to explode.
Those will love
What could go wrong?
Blue is alive. You raised her.
Life cannot be contained. Life breaks free. Life finds a way.
So the trailer starts off with Owen and Claire sitting in the bar, and obviously they're not dating anymore because Owen makes comment the fact that is she dating someone else? A ventriloquist? You do like dummies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, that's so cheesy. That's really cheesy.
It is. And the song in the background, which I like, was a little too on the nose.
It is. Right? I was just, anyway, so what they're doing is they're putting together a team. They're gonna have to go to the island to rescue the dinosaurs before the dormant volcano on the island explodes, or at least that is the antithesis for getting them to the island. What happens while they're there and what happens after, I don't think we're actually being shown much on the in the trailer.
Right. I don't think so either. And definitely you could see where and why he would go with her. Right. Now because he loves these animals and
she gets him there by saying, and what about Blue? You know, Blue will die and you raised her. And they do this flashback of him with Blue, or like baby Blue. And that's not, so first off, I don't think that is actually a flashback. I think that's current. I think Blue has babies. I think there somehow are other raptors on the island, or we'll find a new way that life finds a way, because if you look, Owen is wearing the exact outfit that he wears the whole rest of the movie. And
leather vest.
Right, yeah. The only difference is he has this like thick brown cuff on his left hand. But other than that, he's wearing the exact same outfit. Now, granted, it's an outfit that's very similar to the one he wore in Jurassic World. And it might just be that he is a Charlie Brown, and when he opens his closet, it's the same outfit every day.
Sure.
Or it's that,
I could see him being that type.
I could see him being that type, yeah. But it's also that, if you look in the background, it looks like the destroyed old visitor center that he's in, because there's kind of like that mural you don't get a whole lot of painted in the background, like it's painted like a jungle in the background. But so those are the type of things that lead me to believe that it is actually not baby Blue, but one of Blue's babies that he's obviously gonna have to get off the island. And then we're also shown a part where he's kind of like in the jungle and Blue comes jumping up and kind of startles him, and he says like, me, and he's putting his hand out. If you look in the background of that scene, there is an old Jurassic Park vehicle flipped over, and that vehicle once used to have Alan, Grant, and Tim inside of it. That is the exact same one that fell out of the tree. And
that's an amazing Easter egg, right?
Yeah. And they did the same thing in the first one where the kids find the Jeep that just needed a battery, and they're in the old visitor center and stuff like that.
Right.
So I mean, they did that type of stuff. It's still playing on your nostalgia. It's still putting that out there. But I just thought that was a nice little tie-in. So they're pretty much right off from where the T-Rex made its initial rampage in the very first Jurassic Park. And then this film, it just seems like they're doing a whole lot of similar beats to The Lost World, getting the dinosaurs off the island and taking them back to the mainland, which didn't work out so well then. It doesn't seem like such a good idea.
And that's essentially it, right? I mean, and it has a volcano go off and erupt,
right?
And then everybody's just running for the hilltop and the cliff, and they're just running off of the cliff and going into the ocean.
And here's one of the interesting things. Everyone's wondering, what's this new dinosaur? That one that you see towards the end where it's coming through the pipe, and the kid's like, it's the T-Rex, and she's like, it's not the T-Rex. And it's coming through the fire and stuff like that. It's got this big long snout. It kind of looks like the Spinosaurus aegypticus, which was in Jurassic Park 3. It isn't. It's called the Baryonyx. And one of the funny things about the Baryonyx is people are like, it's a new dinosaur. It's not to InGen and not to the Jurassic Park world. When I was a kid, I loved Jurassic Park, and I had a poster that was a map of the entire park. And on the left-hand side was the key to the map. And on it was all the paddocks of all the dinosaurs that were available for viewing at Jurassic Park along the trail. The Baryonyx was actually one of those dinosaurs that was listed on that. So it's actually been a dinosaur that's been listed being at Jurassic Park all the way back in Jurassic Park 1. And they're finally just showing it. So is the Carnotaurus, which shows up at the end of the trailer when the volcano explodes and they're hiding behind.
Right.
They're hiding behind did you notice the tree that's laying down? Notice that tree looks a whole lot like a tree that all them hid under in the first one when a herd of Gallimimus are running. Isn't that weird? I mean, is it like that? Even if it's not the same tree, they're definitely trying to be reminiscent of that scene specifically.
That's true. Now, the one thing I definitely noticed was the trailer before this official trailer showed a lot of behind the scenes footage, a lot of the making of footage, quite a bit actually. I was really surprised by that. And granted, this doesn't come out for quite some time. And the number one thing that I'm excited about is that they have J.A. Bayona as the director, and he did The Orphanage, The Impossible, and last year's A Monster Calls that a lot of people really, really loved, and I never got around to seeing yet.
It's on HBO. Watch
it's supposed to be very emotional.
It's good.
It's supposed to be very good.
It's good. It's good. It's a little sappy for me, but it's good. And The Orphanage is a great thriller.
And he did all in practical. So
awesome thriller.
It's something that he was able to pull off, and I'm really excited to see that they do a lot of animatronic along with the CGI.
Right. And The Impossible is one of the most gut-wrenching movies I've ever seen.
Definitely.
It absolutely, that movie, that was
one of my favorites.
While I say when A Monster Calls is like sappy, that is... It doesn't feel sappy because it's so visceral in the beginning, right? Like this literal fight for survival.
You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. You're in it.
And I just remember the scene where they all start vomiting up just like the shit and the goo that was inside their stomach from taking in that water and everything like that. And just the whole hunt for to find each other and stuff like that. And when they do, like I'm getting misty-eyed right now just thinking of it because that's such an awesome scene.
Yeah.
It's if you haven't seen The Impossible,
put Tom Holland on the map. Yeah, actually,
all three of the young Tom Holland, Spider-Man's in that shit. So is Obi-Wan Kenobi. So and Naomi Watts' boob, however, that has a rib sticking out of it and is very bloody. Yeah. So you might not want to see it. But if you haven't seen any of those three movies, I recommend all three of them for you guys to watch. It's your own little movie homework to go out there and
definitely.
See. But
definitely.
I've seen those movies and I knew that I enjoyed those movies, but I never put those two and two together that he's the same director doing this, and that got me a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't do too many films.
It definitely doesn't seem like franchise is really his type of thing. So it's definitely him stepping outside of his wheelhouse. But I hope he kind of brings that type of practical sensibility and that
absolutely
and that type of scope to it as well. Now, I mean, in that featurette you're talking about, we see a lot of animatronics, and they even say, we went as practical as we possibly could when it was feasible to do practical. And they show a lot of awesome practical effects, none of which I saw in this trailer. Saw nothing practical in this trailer, man.
I don't think so. I think there might have been one or two, but it was very brief.
There was. It was a close-up of an eye that was like blinking, and then there was I think there's a moment when Blue is close to Owen's hand.
I think that might have been real. Yeah.
But other than that, like everything is very CGI heavy. Now granted, we're getting this big, we're getting this big field with a volcano exploding behind it and a giant, dinosaur stampede. No way in hell can you do that in practical effects for it to look as dynamic as it does. But it makes me kind of excited to see it. However, I'm just not that interested in seeing the dinosaurs get off the island. I'm not interested in the whole genetically engineered dinosaurs being used for being used for warfare and stuff like that, which is kind of like the big crux of this trilogy that they've been talking about that they're doing. And we see that there's also other people on the island other than Owen and Claire and whatever group they've brought, because they show a scene with a bunch of big trucks like kind of watching from afar all of the volcano exploding and stuff like that. Did Claire and them come in those big trucks? I don't think so. It's probably likely that InGen is also there at the same time picking up dinosaurs as well, which that again goes back to the whole weaponized dinosaur thing. I think it's going to come down to Owen trying to get Blue off the island before InGen can take her. And that doesn't really sound interesting to me. We also get some scenes of them off the island. It looks like they're in some sort of like English.
I have no idea.
Some sort of like English castle, like in the hills and stuff like that. But
that's where I'm getting worried by, and I don't know why they put all this out so early on.
I don't know. What I don't understand is you want to talk about them putting this down early on. How about the fact that they show the Carnosaurus coming around? It's going to attack them.
Right.
And then, as she always does, the T-Rex shows up.
Surprise!
And she doesn't make a sound. There's no thumping. There's no anything. She just shows up like she does all the time and kills the Carnosaurus and
just roars epically as everybody just watches and all.
And they all stare at her, and it's like, run.
Yeah,
run.
Like, what the hell?
Get the fuck out of there.
it was a very confusing trailer.
It was.
And it's a teaser trailer, and I just don't understand why the purpose of this trailer.
Yeah, I mean, and
at this moment, and showing what they showed, and then also showing a lot of promotional footage leading up to this particular teaser trailer. It was very. I don't understand the marketing behind this right now, and also because of the fact that it doesn't come out until June 22nd. June 22nd. So, either they have garbage in their hands or something phenomenal in their hands.
No, I don't think it's
garbage. Know what it is.
I think
but they're putting out a lot of marketing. I think it's going to
be another mediocre film, a lot like Jurassic World was. What I think they're doing is they're reminding people early that this is coming, because there is a lot of films for people to get through between now and June.
Well, that's true.
There's 2 Marvel films. There's 2. Jake.
I feel like they should have waited until Super Bowl to drop this trailer.
But there's 2 big Marvel films coming, and there's a ton of other big films that are coming in 2018 that people will. The message of this film, or in their mind, the message of this film will get lost in that shuffle if they don't hit people early. Now they can show this, get people a little bit excited. People have time to forget about it, and then come February or March,
not that many people are excited.
I know. They can come February or March. They can start banging out more trailers, showing you more stuff, and I think by the time this film comes out, I think we will have seen the majority of the film in the trailers. Now, that being said, most of the stuff that we see, I think, in this trailer is probably the first third of the film.
Sure.
Because I think the whole point of the film, we know they did a lot of filming in London, more so than they did in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So more than likely, this is just the first third of the film is them getting dinosaurs off the island. The rest of the film will be off island on mainland. And one of the interesting things is Ian Malcolm shows up, and everyone was so excited to get Ian Malcolm back. I think that courtroom scene that's being teased is probably the only time you're going to get him in this film. Which makes sense for his character, because why the fuck would he ever go back there? He doesn't have a kid or a girlfriend stuck on the island this time.
No.
There's no reason for him to go back there. He's chaos the shit out of it, and he's done with it.
And we don't need Independence Day resurgence to come back. No. We don't need that jinx around this movie.
But honestly, it was this trailer just winds up being like a lot of flashy stuff. Not a whole lot of substance, and it doesn't make me worried for the film, because technically it's just the first trailer. They're just trying to show you some big things, but the big things they showed me don't get me all that excited.
No, and they tried.
Yeah.
And that was the worst part about it, because you could tell that they tried hard and it didn't quite work. So Dave, let's talk about the big trailer.
Absolutely. So the big trailer that I'm really excited for is Ready Player One.
My name's Wade Watts. My dad picked that name because it sounded like a superhero's alter ego, like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. But he died when I was a kid, my mom too. And I ended up here, sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere. Except the Oasis. The only place that feels like I mean anything. The Oasis was the brainchild of James Halliday.
Hello. If you're watching this, I'm dead. I created a hidden object, an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Who is this Parzival, and how the hell is he winning?
Find him. This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
The Oasis.
The world's most important economic resource.
And it's nothing less than a war for control of the future.
Welcome to the rebellion, Wade.
Like many of you, I only came here to escape. But I found something much bigger than just myself. Are you willing to fight?
Help us save the Oasis.
It starts off with Wade Watts. He is describing himself a little bit. You know, he's kind of talking about how he was named after a superhero because his name sounds like a superhero alter ego, and that his dad named him that way, which is
just like Peter Parker and Bruce Banner.
But it's kind of nice because it's like, not only is he a nerd, his dad was a nerd, but he has some weird language there when he's just like, my dad died before I was a kid. Instead of saying my dad died when I was a baby, or my dad died when I was a kid, he said my dad died before I was a kid.
Or young. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this is like
weird language.
Set place in 2045, I believe.
Right, 2045. So it has so it kind of starts off just basically setting you up for the entire for the story itself. Really, is that, you know, everyone kind of gets lost in the Oasis because the world outside really sucks, which is something that like people have always like talked about with like VR. It's like, once you can experience reality virtually, why would you ever want to live outside of that virtual world? And I mean, it really does make sense.
It makes sense. It does make sense. Now, the number one thing that I think might do well with me personally in the movie doesn't work for me in the trailer. I think if they do a good job setting their, you know, the scene and the tone and the setting and the place of this world, right, where you want to be in it, and not just be like all flashy all over the place.
This is too flashy for you.
Way too flashy for me. So if it takes its time and actually, you know, you feel lived in and you feel like you really do want to be in there and just exist and just interact with people and explore with people and just do whatever the hell you want, that's all great.
So in you know, when he gets into Oasis, they're kind of like going through the world of Oasis a little bit, and he talks about how people can get lost in it because it's not about what you can do, but who you can be.
Sure.
And that's kind of the allure of it. You get to kind of make yourself anew in this new world.
Yeah.
But when he's walking into that party, one of the people that he crosses paths with as he's walking out, Harley Quinn and Deathstroke, which this is a film by Warner Brothers, which is kind of strange seeing Steven Spielberg's name, Warner Brothers film, not Universal. And I can see where they're kind of subbing some of the pop culture references from the book out for different pop culture references that were probably easier to get the rights to here. So obviously Warner Brothers film makes sense that they could get Harley Quinn, Deathstroke in there. Also later on, you see the Joker and Harley Quinn there, or at least a Joker-esque person with Harley Quinn. And then in the lineup of cars, when they're showing, because we've seen this before, but in the lineup of cars, we see Speed Racers Mach 5. We see the 1966 Batmobile right there. Then we also see, obviously we saw it in the first trailer, Wade's DeLorean. He drives the DeLorean, which is kind of cool. And then I know the last time we did a trailer breakdown for this, I said that they were Tron light cycles, which I think there are Tron light cycles there. However, it is also Kaneda's bike from Akira that is here. So, which Akira is
that's big. And there's going to be a movie coming out with that, yeah.
And that's a film you will get in movie homework in our next after the new year when we do movie homework again. You are getting Akira, buddy. I don't know what you're going to think of it. I don't think you're going to like it, that's for sure. But then again, if I can get you to watch the Star Wars special, I can get you to watch anything.
Pretty much forced me to watch it.
One of the big obvious references is the song that's playing through it is Jump.
I love that song.
Right. I love that song. I didn't like how they kind of paused the song so that they could have it say jump exactly when King Kong jumped. I was that's kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah.
That's the same as like using a rap song and then making the beats in it gunshots, which is like what every trailer does. And then there's a part where there's kind of like a battle cry. Everyone's about to run into battle, and you can see.
Well, essentially, they set up with the premise of, I guess, most of the movie is going to be is like the creator put on, I guess, a bounty, an Easter egg, to find an Easter egg,
Right.
and you get like $500 billion,
Which
and you
is
get to run the Oasis.
Which is a thing that happens in video games where like there's always like this insanely hard Easter egg to find. You have to do this series of ridiculous tasks that are all really hard. You fuck up at any point and you have to go back and redo it again. And it's kind of funny that it's a movie about video games and they put one of those in there, except when it usually happens in video games, it's some bullshit cutscene that usually means nothing. In this, it is a literal golden egg as they show it.
Yeah.
And it also it's the golden ticket. It's Willy Wonka's golden
Yeah.
ticket that they're actually going after, which I think is kind of funny that it's like,
oh, it's very aware of itself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So in that scene where we get the battle cry, we get Street Fighter's Chun-Li, Tracer from Overwatch, and also Lara Croft. And then later on, when we get a whole bunch of people jumping down a mountain, we see Sagat from Street Fighter, and then we also see at one point when there is a group like running across the snowy field heading into battle, we see Battletoads and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in there as well, which is hilarious. And then it looks like it's the same battle. Chucky from Child's Play is doing like these spin kicks and like just exploding robot faces like all over the place. And then this is where I was talking about they're clearly going to be subbing some things out. I don't think that they are going to be able to do Transformers. That's not Warner Brothers. That's Universal. I don't think that they would allow them to use Transformers in this. So
what did they get?
Gundams, which are from
And the Iron Giant, though.
And the Iron Giant. Yeah, we talked about him in the first trailer. But Gundams are kind of like these giant mechs that exist in anime, and there's a whole series of Gundam series. I really enjoyed some of the Gundam series. I used to watch Gundam Wing when I was young, and so it was kind of cool to see. I'm not sure which Gundam. I don't know if it's Gundam Zero or not, but it's kind of cool to see one of the Gundams. So it's clear that they kind of subbed out Transformers for Gundams here. Really, this is just a love letter to me, a love letter to people like me.
It definitely is.
And I think if anything, you'll have fun just spotting little things like that throughout it, even if it winds up being a ho hum movie. You'll like it for some of that stuff.
It's going to be thoroughly entertaining.
Yeah, it'll definitely be entertaining
and unique.
I'm not crazy about like the style, the way it's shot. Like I don't mind it being that like flashy and stuff like that when they're in the Oasis, but when they're
I think it kind of has to be. I mean, that's
because it's kind of weird
technology wise.
I mean, remember when you see Wade Watts' character in the Oasis, you know, it might be, you know, it might be him playing him, but it's a computer animated person that's there.
Yeah.
So a lot of this movie is going to be CGI heavy. A lot of it's motion captured and stuff like that. So it's some of that stuff might,
but it's so CGI heavy where I don't even think they need to waste their time with the motion capture, right?
No, I mean motion capture does a lot for animation. It really does.
Does it help out?
Yeah, it does a lot.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine then.
There's a reason that Andy Serkis has made an entire career out of it and is a fantastic actor and continues to get brought in for jobs like that, because if it wasn't important, then any fucking moron they'd put one of those black bubble suits on them and be like, all right, go out there and make moves.
I'm saying no bubble suit. I'm just saying just create.
No, because
that wouldn't work.
Yeah, because then you can't approximate real human movements and stuff like that.
Okay,
that stuff's hard to recreate. It's much easier and much clearer looking when you actually have a real human who's acting those things out.
Okay,
and something tells me that Ty Sheridan was 100% in one of those bubble suits, like acting out his character.
I'm sure he was, because it's obvious that. Well, actually, it does show a little bit when he's out of the Oasis and he comes across this girl Olivia Cook as like the rebellion or something like that.
Right.
So that's going to be another subplot, I guess.
Right.
That's going to pop up later on.
And I think that like what we're going to wind up getting is we're going to wind up getting a good mix of the real world and the Oasis.
Which is I'm very happy about, because the real world looks fantastic to me. I really like the way it looks.
It looks a lot like Minority Report. Like it kind of looks like this sort of like dystopian future with a sheen to it, with a nice shine over top of it.
Absolutely. And of course our boy Ben Mendelsohn is going to be the main baddie.
Yep. He plays a great bad guy.
I love Ty Sheridan, so I think he's going to be, you know, a star one day.
Yeah,
and
I think
so. He's a good.
I think what you're getting in this trailer is a lot of the stuff that happens in the Oasis because that's the stuff that grabs people like me and gets it excited for it. But then, you get enough of the real world in there that people like you can enjoy it, Jay.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
All right, so
I'll definitely be there. March 30th, I believe it comes out.
Yep. Which is a much more appropriate time for a trailer to drop.
Exactly.
The teaser was enough. Like, you know what I mean? The teaser was a little bit.
No, this is a much better trailer for me than the first teaser trailer.
I think it's
the
much better
trailer I hated.
It's much better marketing than Jurassic World has done so far.
Yes.
So that's going to do it for Trailer Park this week. If you have any comments on Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, or you have any comments for us about Ready Player One, anything we missed, believe me, there's a ton of Easter eggs in there. If there's anything you saw that I had missed, reach out to us on Twitter at SuperMoviePod. Coming up next, much to Jay's chagrin, we are going to be talking about the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Stay tuned for this.
Happy Life Day.
I know you're searching for me. Searching. I am here. My voice is for you alone. I am found in your eyes only. I exist for you. I am in your mind as you create me. Oh, yes. I can feel my creation. I'm getting your message. Are you getting mine? Oh, we are excited, aren't we? Well, just relax. Yeah. Now, we can have a good time, can't we? I'll tell you a secret. I find you adorable.
And now the moment you've all been waiting for. It took some convincing, but I got Jay to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special.
It wasn't really so much convincing, Dave. It was more or less I felt like I was forced upon watching something that I had no time to watch. So I had to watch this doing things that I would normally be doing at the time. And that was going to the gym after work and having to watch half of this movie or 35 minutes of this movie on the treadmill, which made me run a lot faster and harder than
in hopes that you can outrun it.
Exactly, because I was literally like, what the fuck am I watching? Just baffled by what the hell was on the screen and what I was listening to, and it was just a disaster.
Jay, you were watching the most disastrous holiday Christmas special that's ever been put on television ever. That's what you were watching, man. It's crazy, but this is like,
I can't believe it. It's a Star Wars film.
It's Star Wars, right?
It's Star Wars, and Lucas had
his hands in it.
His hands deep in it.
Which is crazy. All right, so...
And then after the fact...
So everyone knows about the holiday special. Before the internet was as big as it is, before it was this much of a thing, the holiday special was something that existed that people could that people could only find in hushed tones in the back corner of cons, in some guy that was selling stuff there in the bottom box hidden inside of VHSs. You could find a bootleg of the holiday special. Right. It's never been put on home video for people to purchase. Never once, not ever. Even the shitty Ewok films from the late 80s have been put on to DVD at least once. That's the Caravan of Courage that you can buy, and those are fucking pretty bad, but they're not this. Even Droids and Ewoks, the shitty 80s cartoons, have been put on DVD and VHS, but never this. It's because everyone involved in it was so fucking embarrassed by it.
Everybody, yeah.
So, and George Lucas has gone on record as saying that if he had the time, the money, the resources, and a sledgehammer big enough, he would go to every convention and find every bootleg copy and destroy it if he had the opportunity. And he was so embarrassed by this. Now this came out,
rightfully so.
This came out in 1978. It was just several months before Star Wars had landed, and people were feverish.
Right after.
It was right after, right?
Yeah.
People were feverish for some sort of sequel. Now, obviously, Empire Strikes Back is 3 years away. Lucas was in the midst of writing Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back at the time that this was coming out. So the holiday special was thrown in front of him by ABC, and he met it and he did it. He hired.
I feel like they filmed this thing like right at the very end of shooting.
Yeah, right at the height of its success, probably towards the end of summers when they started started writing and shooting it. Bruce Valanche was one of the writers who's gone on the record as saying he doesn't apologize for it. He just says that he did a lot of cocaine while writing it, and he was very high while writing it. So if you don't know the story of it, the story is Chewie and Han have to get Chewbacca home to Kashyyyk. That's right. If you're a Star Wars fan. The Wookiee home planet in this is referred to as Kashyyyk, not Kashyyyk, which is what it is now referred to and what it is canon as being. They have to go to Kashyyyk to drop Chewie off so that he can celebrate Life Day with his family of Wookiees. And what happens is, instead of following the interesting adventure of Chewbacca and Han Solo as they navigate through Imperial filled space and try to and try to get past the Imperial blockade that surrounds Kashyyyk, instead of following the interesting story of space battles and stuff like that to get Chewie home, instead we follow Chewie's family as they kind of experience Life Day. Mom is cooking dinner. Itchy, the grandfather, is watching softcore porn, and Lumpy, the Chewbacca's son, is watching a series of strange videos on HoloVid. And what we see is all the different forms of entertainment that they are consuming. So at one point, Mala, who is Chewbacca's wife, is cooking Life Day dinner, and she watches a cooking show about a four-armed lady. Well, a man playing a lady. It's a trans alien.
Yes,
cooking. And and I swear to God, whip, stir, whip, stir. It's just, it gets said so often and so,
on a loop. Oh my God.
It's just, you're just like, what the fuck? And the whole time there's this Wookiee just standing there, this giant carpet just standing there, just smashing things inside of a fucking, not even like a pot, it's a wash basin. She's just like mashing things inside of.
Oh my God. That was the moment when I first said like an out loud thing on the treadmill. I was like, "What the fuck, Dave?" I was like, "What are you giving me to watch?" Like I was like, seriously, like just completely mind blown at that point.
I told you it was awful, but get through it because there's a reason for it. Because I knew that you'd be so angry by watching it that you would want to do nothing more than hate on it here on the podcast.
It's endless. It's just everything about it is terrible. The fucking pacing of it, the fade outs and fade ins with the obvious commercial breaks, the fact that it just plots along in very boring Wookiee story elements that just are like grossly boring and like very uncomfortable.
Talk about pacing. The first 20 minutes of this movie is I'm probably the first 10 minutes. It's hard to tell.
It doesn't matter. It's all over the place.
It's hard to tell time in this film because 10 minutes seems like you've already watched it for 2 hours. 10 minutes is too long. The first beginning is just.
This is the longest 96 minutes ever.
Is a series of Wookiee grunts and howls and like going on and on for so fucking long that you're like, is there going to be a human who speaks in this, who talks like at all? Please, anything. And then the first thing you see is Lumpy the Wookiee watching like some sort of circus delay performance.
Yeah.
And that goes on for like 5 minutes.
It was like the Oompa Loompas or something. It was ridiculous.
It was so. What's wrong with Oompa Loompas, man? Now you're hating on things that aren't this. Come on,
I am not hating on Oompa Loompas. I'm hating on George Lucas's Oompa Loompas because they were atrocious looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, the visual effects in this movie throughout was absolute garbage. I mean,
well, it was made for TV, so give it a little bit of a break on its visual. Ooh. I mean, when the Millennium Falcon, now granted, you're watching a bootleg on that was a VHS taping of it. You know, you're watching that ripped to YouTube. And remember that it was in 1978, so the quality of TVs weren't that great. So you're watching a rip of a rip of a rip then thrown up on YouTube. So don't give it too much of a knock on quality.
All right, I give you that.
As far as Wookiee costumes go, I mean, they're okay. They're not as good as Chewbacca, but they're okay. But then, you know, I mean, in the beginning, you get the Millennium Falcon screaming in. You get 2 Star Destroyers looming overhead, and you're like, oh man. I'm in for a treat, and boy, are you not. And I mean, every actor just seemed like they showed up there because they were told they had to. Like, they were told this was important.
Pretty much.
Like, you know, Luke,
contractual, yeah.
And everything.
Or they just give him a shitload of money.
Every interaction is so awkward, right? So like when
but it's also the way it's written and directed, you know, and the way the whole thing was thrown together, it just doesn't make any sense
now,
at all.
Bruce Vilanch, who I said was one of the writers on it, begged George Lucas to please don't make this about the Wookiees. Have them be part of it by all means, but don't make it about the Wookiees, because then everything has to be done in Wookiee speak. And he was like, yeah, no, because the Wookiees are going to be a big part of the rest of the series, because he was not done writing episode, no matter what.
So he was still working things out, yeah.
No matter what gets said about Star Wars, you know, how he says it's always been a 9-part trilogy and all the a 9-part anthology and all this stuff. Really what it was he had the outline, a story idea, but some of the details and some of the side plots and some of the side characters he didn't have all worked out. And he was still writing a lot of The Empire Strikes Back. In fact, he was writing a fair bit of it, to the fact that Art Carney's character, who is kind of like this tradesman on Kashyyyk, or Kazook, on the Wookiee homeworld, who is kind of like he trades with the Empire, but he also trades with the Wookiee. That was the original prototype for Lando. That was supposed to be Lando, but instead of going with Art Carney, like this old type of like swindler and tradesman that is Kazook, instead of him, they wind up going with the Lando we got, which is obviously far better. So I would like to say that because this existed, Lucas learned from his mistakes and kind of made a better Empire Strikes Back for it.
I guess.
But Bruce Vilanch begged him to not do Wookiees because the whole film would just be Wookiees grunting, and that's exactly what this is.
And it was. I mean, what else could it be? I mean, that's essentially the spine of the feature. Really was their story, and you know, Chewie getting back to them, and that's essentially
because it was a holiday special, so they had to have a holiday in there. But
and they tried, but it was so off-putting and really hard to watch and take in. And then all the subplots and all the little sub-musical numbers were even worse. The musical numbers were so thrown in and so,
I mean, don't get me wrong,
disgustingly terrible.
I despise this. I despise it to no end. The fact that this exists in the Star Wars universe and obviously is not canon
disgrace
is pretty disgraceful. But you were watching this as like a real movie. You're trying to review this like you're a real. Oh, the plot, the subplot. You know, somewhere in the third act did this happen?
Wow,
it's like
somebody's supposed to review it.
There is no act. This was a holiday special with a loose.
It's almost like a variety special.
That's exactly what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a variety special.
Doesn't matter,
like
even still.
Like a Star Wars holiday.
No, we talked about
hour.
it earlier. There are some elements that were better than others. We said was it the cartoon?
The cartoon, yeah.
The cartoon was the best segment. The most. It was still poorly written. The whole story of the cartoon was just ridiculous. It didn't make any sense. It didn't, it just didn't make any sense. But also like, just silly stuff. Like, oh my God. Like, it was kind of, I always love seeing stormtroopers. There's something about seeing stormtroopers. You just feel all right. I just love the way they look. I think they always, they don't do anything wrong. Like, as far as like their character, they
right.
do a purpose. They always look badass and whatever.
Well, you mentioned a cartoon. The cartoon was done by Nelvana Studios, and obviously, like there's Japanese writing on there, so it's kind of like it's like a Japanese anime. And one of the things that Nelvana Studios went on to do was they went on to do the Droids and Ewoks cartoons in the late '80s for Star Wars. But the cartoon is also the first appearance of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett,
who looked great,
who first appears as a friend. Number one, number two. He's more blue than he is, green. He's blue and beige, which wound up being the prototype for Jango Fett later on in the prequels. And, they also at the end, R2-D2 mentions, well, bleeps and whoops and tells C-3PO that that Boba Fett's not someone to be trusted. You can't take him back to the base. He's Darth Vader's second-hand man, which is one of those things that, like, when he was a toy long before he was in the film, and he was in this holiday special 2 years before Empire Strikes Back came out. So his character wasn't completely flushed out, which is why Han has no clue who the fuck he is. Chewie doesn't know who he is, even though he's a bounty hunter who worked
trusts them
for Boba Fett. He's a bounty hunter that worked for Jabba the Hutt that was hunting Han down. You know, none of that was even in the plot yet. It was that he was Vader's second-hand man, which goes back to some of Ralph Quarry's original artwork, where Boba Fett's original costume was more along the lines of a stormtrooper. He was in white armor and stuff like that. But
his storyline is so pointless.
It is. It's all pointless. Jay, this whole thing is pointless. There's nothing. If anyone thought that a holiday special would add anything of substance to the Star Wars universe, you were wrong.
This is the sound of Jay Short watching this movie.
You were fucking it? You sucking its dick?
I was fucking bashing my head on anything I could find because I could not stand watching this. This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, there is some cool things that came out of this.
Barely.
Boba Fett,
if that. I mean, come on, dude.
But there's also, you know, this also adds the fact that Chewbacca has a family. And he's been just gallivanting with Han Solo out in the cosmos for God knows how long, abandoning
a
him for
creepy
Helen.
family, yeah.
Oh my God! I mean,
and their interactions at the very end of the movie was
Itchy,
vomit-inducing.
Itchy's Chewie's father watches softcore porn, and it is just the creepiest thing in the world. Well, of course you fancy me. You created me. I'm your fantasy. Experience me. I'm yours here in this place and time.
You're adorable.
And he keeps rewinding.
Reminds me about you're adorable.
And one of the things that I found was really interesting, I don't know whether it has something to do with stage lighting or not, but Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford are both wearing eyeliner, like in all their scenes. Like for some reason they had to put eyeliner on them. I don't know whether there was too much lighting or something like that, and it washed out their eyes, so they put eyeliner in there to add definition, but they are 100% definitely wearing eyeliner. And I'm like, why?
Probably that.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah, that makes your eyes pop more.
Yeah, why? Yeah. Like I was like, it's just weird. It's weird that you would notice something
cheap lighting,
like that.
man.
Yeah.
Well, with these TVs nowadays, I never really expected back in '78 for us to see every fucking nook and cranny.
Well, I mean, we're not seeing every nook and cranny. Like I said, this is a rip of a rip of a rip
right,
of a
but
rip.
the fact that you can actually spot that out on your TV, that's saying something. Yeah.
I had seen this before. Now, I have never watched this. As big of a Star Wars fan as I am, I have never watched this in one sitting.
I was shocked. Yeah.
I have watched. I have seen it all in bits and pieces, but I decided to talk about it tonight. I wanted to watch it in one sit down, in one go, in just one sitting.
I don't think Lauren got through it either.
Lauren did not. She did whatever else she could to not pay, but she came back in to laugh like every now and then. She goes, "What the fuck is going on?" And I'm like, I don't fucking know. At some point, Han and Chewie got to get through an Imperial blockade, and guess what? They just show up at the end. Like there's no resolution to that story. How'd they get through the Imperial blockade? Oh, they're here.
This movie, like if I ever saw this, I would never ever watch anything Star Wars related for the rest of my life. Period.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was definitely
that bad.
It was definitely one of those things that Lucas was worried about after this came out. Was that
rightfully so? I mean, thank God he came back with Empire Strikes Back.
Well, I mean, yeah, and I was wondering, like, it's obviously not anything he would ever say or anything that you would ever see anywhere else, but I mean, you know, did he? He didn't really direct this. But it's one of those things where it's like
but this time in that era, he had enough hand in this.
Right,
property.
but he learned from his mistakes enough that he corrected a lot of the script for Empire Strikes Back and stuff like that.
True.
Changed Boba Fett's backstory, you know, reduced his character role and stuff like that to make him more mysterious. Whether he did that on purpose or not, it worked.
It works better that way.
Changing old man Art Carney from what he was into Lando Calrissian. It's another brilliant move. I mean, he was still working on the script for Empire Strikes Back. In fact, Jay, I wish that he had such a misstep before making the prequels. I wish he did, because he would have had something to learn from. He would have saw negative critical reception to a lot of things, and maybe had corrected some of his aspects of the prequels.
Yeah, I don't know. He did so much wrong with it, though.
But by that point, he was so far gone into his own, I'm not going to say ego, but just into himself. And I mean, into telling the story he wanted to tell. That's all he's ever wanted to do, is tell the story he wants to tell.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what fans thought of it.
He
just
had the
wanted to tell
money,
that story.
he had the power.
Yeah.
He was just going to do whatever the hell he wanted.
What is the most painful sequence for you in this? The most painful one to get through?
Oh boy. Well, the first one was Whip Stir. I was like, what the fuck is this? But not that. That's more comical. It's funny. Really, just the Wookiees. Just so much. By the end of the movie, there was just so much Wookiee interaction and looks and glances and close-ups. And it was really uncomfortable. And I think, oh gosh, there's so many. Probably the very end, the song.
Oh, you're talking about Leia's
Leila's
song?
yeah.
That's a song that she actually fought for to get in the movie. And she was
the whole speech and the song. Oh, God.
And she wound up getting it, but she hated the song so much that she just phoned it in and said fuck it. She did not care. It's also interesting to mention that Jefferson Starship was in this film as well, doing an entire musical number. And they, for some reason, he has a lightsaber for a microphone. He's holding it like right up to his mouth, and I was like, that kind of seems weird. Why would you do that?
I don't think he knew at the time. I think they put that in post.
Oh yeah. They definitely put that in post. It was just like shooting a music video. It's just so fucking it.
Everything about this is bad. Everything.
What did you think of
story?
What did you think of B. Arthur and B. Arthur's? She said she only did this holiday special because her oldest son at the time was a massive Star Wars fan. So when this came a knocking for her, she went right at she jumped right in and did it for her kid.
Go for it, girl.
And you said that was the best. That was the best part of it. Was her song in the cantina.
If there is such a thing.
For me, the hardest part to get through is just, for some reason, right after the cartoon, there's about 30 minutes left in it. There is an entire instructional video about how to turn how to make a communication system that's like 5 minutes long.
Forgot about that.
And it
long.
Why is this an instructional video in the middle of this? Like, if it's supposed to be a variety hour, I can get singing and dancing and stuff like that and doing all that. But why is there an instructional video about how to build a transmitter to talk to a race of people
and
that's shut down? Because they said it's for a race of people that they go dormant like every hour, like they run out of power, like they're a race of androids that run out of power.
I give the actor credit for trying to pull that off, but oh my God, it's terrible. It's so painful. That's probably the worst one, to be honest.
I think what's also painful is watching these actors that you see portray the rest of Star Wars just completely like phoning it in. Oh, come on, Mala. Give me a smile.
And then it like slowly zooms in on her and it's like it's like, what the fuck? Make it stop.
It baffles me that
I hate you so much, Dave.
I can imagine like Star Wars fans like who didn't see the holiday special, like just going out there hunting down this holiday special. They've heard so much about getting it, probably spending exorbitant amounts of money, and then watching it and going, what the fuck?
Is this the right copy? Like,
yeah, like, right? Yeah. And like there's clearly like a jerk off scene with Itchy the Wookiee with Chewbacca's dad, like just because they keep focusing back in on his mouth and he's going and he's clearly like just fucking whacking off to this fucking holo vid. It's fucking crazy. This is, dude, this
it's ridiculous.
This Star Wars holiday special can only be brought to you by cocaine. Like that's the only thing that you can say made this happen. Everyone was on cocaine. Had to be. Harrison Ford
and Stone,
Mark Hamill, fucking Carrie Fisher, George Lucas, Bruce Vilanch, whoever was involved in this was fucking high. The only one I feel bad for is B. Arthur, who's just like, I'm going to be in Star Wars because my kid wants me to be. And she gets on there and she sings. She goes, this is going to be a thing. that exists, and I'll be in it forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
It is one of
thing.
the worst things that has ever come out of the Star Wars universe, but Star Wars has had plenty of missteps in its time of
It has, but the fans have stuck with it somehow. Yeah.
I mean, like there was the time, like after Empire.
At least the future looks bright, David.
There was a time that after Return of the Jedi came out, it's called for Star Wars fans. It's called the Dark Times. Like it's when nothing came out Star Wars related. It wasn't until the early '90s that they started getting comic books and real life novels that were written in the universe. They were in universe adventures of post Return of the Jedi stuff that people really got back into Star Wars, and that's what wound up feeding into
when
George
did you
to
get
buy
into
the
Star
prequels.
Wars? What year do you think?
89 or 90, probably. When
so you were in that dark age.
Yeah, I was young.
And then you kind of faded back into it.
I was not born when
eased into the prequels.
I was not born when any of the original trilogy came out. I was born in 86. So the original trilogy was already done and over with. So I discovered Star Wars in that dark age, just like a lot of people that are our age did.
Yeah.
So I mean, it made sense that as a new generation came up and found it, that it fed their hunger. And it also meant that as people came up who were younger during when the original Star Wars came out and they heard about this holiday special, they just had to hunt it down and find it. And now, as much as George Lucas wants it destroyed, the internet has made it available for everybody. And it is on YouTube right now. So if you want to punish yourself, if you're like Hero from my fake synopsis, and you just want to be punished because you're a bad boy, go ahead and watch the holiday special, because you will feel like you were beaten by Star Wars because you stole something.
And then some.
So that's going to do it for Super Movie Brothers tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you don't watch the holiday special.
Don't watch it.
This was all about making Jay feel pain for making me watch Diving Bell and Butterfly. I have now gotten my retribution. It's also his penance for hating Evil Dead 2. So be warned, Jay. Don't ever hate another beloved movie of mine or of our listeners, because
I can't promise that.
You've been catching some shit for not liking Evil Dead 2.
I don't care.
So every time you hate something that's beloved, we will make you sit down and watch something.
I will give my honest opinion on it.
Yeah, well, then you will reap the rewards of that. And then you will have to fucking watch the holiday special or something else of its ilk. I will strap you to a chair. You will look like Malcolm McDowell at the end of fucking A Clockwork Orange.
This was rough. I feel like nothing can get
I can't believe I got you to watch it. The best is when I texted you and I said, you have to watch this. You went, that's 90 minutes. And I was like, yeah, it is. And the best part is, you don't know how bad it's going to be. I can tell you.
I didn't. I had no idea. I was like, I literally just got out of work. I'm going to the gym. I'm like, fuck, I got to start watching this somehow, like, throughout my routine of like going to the gym and like getting back and getting ready and blah 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 and eating and stuff like that before I come over here. It was gonna be hard to fit in, so I had to like watch it while I was on the treadmill.
I could tell you it's bad all day, but I can never prepare you for how bad it's really.
And in the car driving, I'm a safe driver. Mostly glances, but even still, you didn't need to be watching the screen that much.
Just picturing you driving and you're hearing whip, stir, whip, stir. Oh, wait, that's not the right order. Stir, whip, stir.
Oh, my God.
That's so good. So, also talking about the holiday special this week, our friends from Podfix over at Laser Disco, that is Shampoo and Chris, formerly of Bud's Beers and Brutality, are have their Laser Disco holiday special that should be up right around the same time that this goes up. So make sure you go over to Podfix, www.podfixnetwork.com. Check out all the other shows. Everybody is doing Star Wars theme this week. Me and Jay will be back with our Star Wars The Last Jedi review. Hopefully that would be a nice palate cleanse to get the holiday special out of Jay's system. Hopefully it hasn't soured Jay on Star Wars enough to just go in and fucking hate fuck
we'll see.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I'm going in on Star Wars on a whimper.
And make sure you go over to So I Married a Movie Geek, also a Podfix, and listen to me, Justin, and Chrissy talk about the Star Wars prequels, much to everyone's chagrin. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Have a great night. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, will you look at Lumpy? He's sure grown, huh? I think his voice is changing.